Hello students, welcome to week 2 of the course. I'm going to start out with a sample assignment for you, and that is how do I make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. What I'd like you to do is go on Blackboard, go in the assignments tab, find assignment 0 and complete it. It shouldn't take too long, just pause the video now and come back. And remember to follow all of the steps. This is where you'll find it if you go to your course on Blackboard. It's over on the left-hand side under assignments, and you're looking for week 2 assignment 0. So just click on this. It should pop up. There we go. And go ahead and do that. And come back to the video when you're done. Okay, now that you're done with that, I want you to go back to the same spot under assignments, find reflection 0 and complete that. So you'll need to be able to look at assignment 0 while you complete reflection 0. So go ahead and do that. All right, now that you're done with that, let's talk about audience. So audience is one of the most important things to think about when you're writing. If you know who you are writing for and you can make some assumptions about what they know, it's going to be a lot easier for you to communicate with them. You should try to approach your audience at the level of knowledge that they have. Too little information is going to lose your audience. They aren't going to understand it. So if you imagine you're writing these instructions for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to someone who has never seen or heard of a sandwich in their life, and you don't mention that you need a knife to spread peanut butter, for instance, they're going to be using their hand or using a spatula or just dipping the bread in the peanut butter, depending on what kind of information you gave them. If you give your audience too much information that they already know, you might bore them or you might make them feel patronized, like you are talking down to them. And really, to write a successful piece of anything, you want to avoid both of these things. You want to approach your audience at the amount of information that they have. It's okay if you are a little way off one way or the other. Someone isn't going to be patronized if you're mentioning a part of an activity that they know is complex but they already know. And if you give your audience most of what they need but not quite enough, you can usually count on your audience to figure it out. So if you say, using a knife, spread the peanut butter on the bread, or spread a tablespoon, or however much if you want to give them measurements, you can probably count on them holding the handle of the knife and doing it like that. You can probably count on them using an appropriate knife, not, a giant meat cleaver or something like that. But you only want to be a little way off is the point. So let's take a look at assignment 1 and talk about your assumptions for the audience, and also talk about how I expect you to do research for this. Okay, again, we're in the assignments section on Blackboard, and I've uploaded assignment 1, which is how do I writing assignment. So the idea here is that you are going to write instructions to complete a procedure that you are an expert in, something that you already know how to do perfectly and completely. For an audience that has never done what you're telling them how to do. Steps 1, 2, and 3 in the process involve you selecting that task, thinking about what you are good at, and then picking it and planning how you are going to write about it. Step 4 is audience analysis. Who is your audience? You should consider who this is very carefully before doing the writing. They shouldn't be a blank slate. They shouldn't be, an alien visitor come to Earth who doesn't understand the meaning of any of the words that you're using. But they don't know how to do this task. So how would a newcomer know to do this task? And how much can you expect a newcomer to do? If you're talking about a task that has a lot of intricacy to it, or has expert mode to it, you may not want a beginner to jump into that. If your audience is someone who is already okay at something, maybe now you are trying to get them to move up to expert mode. So that's audience analysis. Think about this for a bit. Think about how they might feel about it. Because how your audience is going to feel about the task is going to change the way you talk about it. If it's something they're afraid of, let's say you were trying to teach someone how to parallel park their car or how to merge into traffic. A lot of people have nervous feelings about these things, so that might change the tone of voice you use, the language that you use. You might want to be very encouraging with them and assure them that they're going to be okay. But that depends on what you're writing about. Step 5 in the process is to find and analyze models. And when you're doing research for this, when you're finding models, you are looking for models that are like what you are writing about, but not exactly the same. So if you're writing about how to parallel park, don't look up instructions on parallel parking. You might look up instructions on doing something else with a car, or instructions on doing something else with a piece of machinery, but don't look up how to parallel park. I don't want you to copy anyone else's work. I want you to feel confident that you are an expert and use your own words. Instead, what you're doing when you're looking up models is looking for how people convey information. How do they talk about it? How do they start talking about it? How do they introduce the task? What sorts of techniques or choices do they make that you might use in your instructions? And don't just look at their word choice, look at how they format their instructions as well. And once you've thought about your audience and found a good model through your research, go ahead and complete the exercise. Write your instructions helping someone do the task that you are an expert in, and revise and edit it as you see fit. Okay, that's all I have for you today. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you soon.